Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. Spooktacular edition. Actually, when you're seeing this, it'll probably be late Halloween night, but these are the new releases for Friday, November 1st, 2024. Is that Day of the Dead? I think that's what they call that. November 1st new releases. Uh, what can I say? October was a very dry month here. We didn't have any rain all month. So that's kind of nerve wracking when you see all the trees getting so dry that it's like, are these just like flame catchers here? There's that. And then we're also in the middle of an election season, which has been kind of all presidential elections are always bad for retail. Everybody's attentions are turned elsewhere, and understandably so. So I don't get political on this channel much. So I'm hoping that in the next 4 or 5 days, we sort of have a decision, and I would say hopefully people will abide by those decisions. I'm not really thinking that that's actually going to happen, but we'll see. So, with that being said, I have new releases to do today. It's a much smaller week than the last couple of weeks, I think, because of the holiday, the election, and then I'll give a recommends and whatever else sort of hits my thinking this week. So, there's one big new release this week, and wouldn't you know, I've been talking about it on this page, and I've been so excited about it, but 15 years since the last album from The Cure, Robert Smith and Company, and somehow the label is managing to screw it up as far as the delivery. I am hoping that we get more of these soon, and I think this is going to be something that you're probably going to be finding across the board, no matter where you go. It's going to say sold out. So there is an indie edition of the album. Here it is, The Cure, Songs of a Lost World. A dark and moody record. 8 tracks, 8 long tracks. Last song, end song, is about 11 minutes long. It's supposed to be kind of a singular mood piece. I heard 4 of the songs on the tour last year, and they were great. Very heartfelt kind of songs. These are the indie retail exclusive 1 LP Marble Stone heavyweight bio vinyl. So they're the what do they call them? The eco vinyls. And it's mastered by Miles Showell at Abbey Road. We'll be getting black vinyl versions of this eventually. I'm not exactly sure when those are showing up. They should all have been planned and here by now. And I was just speaking with the sales rep yesterday, and he said that they don't really know when they're showing up. And nobody apparently is getting them really much on time. And there's lots of complaining from lots of stores. So now that says one of two things to me. Either the band was not making the label aware that, hey, this record is done and we're ready to press it and it's coming out. Sort of doubtful. The label was caught off guard, or intentionally decided not to release a lot of records at first, in order to drive up streaming first so they could make more money that way and then release a vinyl record. I mean, they are we're dealing with companies now, conglomerates, that are much more concerned with, even with the increase in vinyl sales, they're much more concerned with the streaming numbers. So they could be driving people to do that. I can't imagine the band would be sabotaging themselves, or the label would sabotage the band because of things they might have said about like ticket prices or something like that. Who knows? I mean, we're dealing with Universal, which is the biggest record company in the world. So you would think that they would be able to, with all the promotion that this has had, get more copies of this out there in time. So look, if you don't find it on the day of release, and we will have CDs, um, I know that's some small consolation to many of you, but they will be in probably within a week or so. So don't uh, go nuts if you don't find it on the day. I said to someone yesterday, I'm going to be dealing with a lot of depressed goths. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate. I think I ordered about 20 copies of that limited one to begin with, and we got like four. And I don't know. I mean, I've ordered probably 20 to 30 of the black one, and crickets still. So I'm excited about the record. I can't wait to hear the record. I'm so thankful that Robert decided to do another one. And for me, I'm like, I don't care really what color the record is, as long as it sounds okay from wherever I'm playing it. I'm really more about the music than I am about what color. The color vinyl is cool. And it's interesting how this time we actually got the color vinyl and not the black one. So I don't know if that means that all the pressing plants are too busy making Black Friday record store day records, what the deal is. So, all right, moving right along though. The Cure's new album, Songs of a Lost World. Ironically, coming from the same Universal label, although I don't know who's pressing these, but two Blue Note tone poets this week. We've got Cliff Jordan. It's a self-titled record from 1957. These are the nice tone poet gatefolds, remastered or cut by Kevin Gray, mastered at Coherent Audio. This features Lee Morgan, Curtis Fuller, John Jenkins, Ray Bryant, Paul Chambers, and Art Taylor. Quality players there. The other one that comes out this week is Bobby Hutcherson, Dialogue. And this one also features Freddie Hubbard, Sam Rivers, Andrew Hill, Richard Davis, and Joe Chambers. And this one was recorded in 1965. So here are your two Blue Note tone poet offerings for the week. Class, pure Blue Note, pure class. Okay. Sorry, I'm grabbing my CDs here too because you're going to want to see those. Another from Verve Acoustic Sounds, Chet Baker, and this one's called Baker's Holiday. And sort of an image drawing here of Billie Holiday coming out of his horn. It's Chet covering Billie Holiday songs, 1965. This looks great. And I've never heard this record. Chet has such a pure sound and pure tone with his trumpet at this period that I think these would be really wonderful performances of These Foolish Things, You're My Thrill, Don't Explain, That Old Devil Called Love. There's some of the more slow, sort of ballady kind of songs of Billie Holiday's. New Chet Baker. And those Verve Acoustic Sounds pressings are some of the best sounding jazz reproductions out there. Let's see. Well, vinyl, we get more reissues this week, and I'm so happy to see some of this stuff back out here again. We got Peter Gabriel So. I know this sounds like funny, but I haven't been able to get this album for about a year now. In fact, during the whole tour, the Peter Gabriel tour, we couldn't get this record. So it's good that it's back in stock and in print. It does feature the updated track listing. So if you have an original of So, you'll remember that side 2 starts with In Your Eyes and ends with We Do What We're Told, Milgram's 97. Peter at some point decided, no, that's not the correct running order, or I want to change it. So side 2 actually begins with Mercy Street, followed by Big Time, We Do What We're Told, then This Is the Picture, Excellent Birds, and ends with In Your Eyes. So it's a slightly different version. These that features a high-res download card though, which is nice. And look, they're doing all of the Peters again, and the rest of them are all color vinyl versions. This is the first album, which they call Car. I'm trying to remember. They don't print. They print what color? Oh, this is a silver vinyl. You get the second one, which is Scratch, and this one is on blue vinyl. I think this one was produced by, is it Robert Fripp? I don't know, he played on it quite a bit. And then the third one, very iconic record, Melt. And this one features a lot of Kate Bush on it, doing backing vocals. And this one is on yellow vinyl, featuring I Don't Remember, Games Without Frontiers, Biko. It's just a great album, really great. Intruder. And my favorite of all of those, Peter Gabriel's 4, which is also called Security in the US. This one is on green vinyl, and it features Shock the Monkey, San Jacinto, Rhythm of the Heat, Lay Your Hands on Me, The Family and the Fishing Net. It's a really great album too. So there are 5 Peter Gabriel reissues this week. You can't go wrong with the Peter Gabriel catalog. You just can't. All right. Another new album, Willie Nelson. And this is his new record. Yes, his new record on Amber Swirl double vinyl. This is called Last Leaf on the Tree. Willie's in his early 90s now. And it's an album of duets. Not duets, I'm sorry, cover versions. So this is kind of like sort of what Johnny Cash was doing at the end there with Rick Rubin. This was produced by Micah Nelson, which is what Willie's son. This features covers of Beck, The Flaming Lips, Keith Richards, Nina Simone, Sonny Ward, Tom Waits, Neil Young, and Warren Zevon, maybe among others. There's 13 songs here. So, new Willie Nelson. New Robin Hitchcock, Vacations in the Past, 1967. So this is also a covers album, limited edition blue vinyl, featuring Robin's covers of Whiter Shade of Pale, Itchycoo Park, San Francisco, Be Sure to Wear Flowers in Your Hair, Waterloo Sunset, See Emily Play, Day in the Life, No Face, No Name, No Number. Yeah. Robin's always been sort of drawn to the past in his work, so I think that that's a pretty cool project. Let's see here. Also, new album from Gavin Friday called Ecce Homo. Gavin, sort of a friend of Bono's, got his start in the band The Virgin Prunes, and has been solo for a long time. It's his first album in like 15 years. Kind of a dark, brooding cover here, and it was produced by Dave Ball, the keyboard player from Soft Cell. And it's kind of a dark, electronic sort of sounding album. His voice is very croony. He's got this deep sort of bass voice, and then a very kind of beautiful highlight falsetto too. There's some female vocals in the background. It's a pretty electronic, dark electronic album though. That kind of menacing sort of 80s electro pop. This actually came out a couple weeks ago, and we didn't get our initial shipment, and now we got this. Mariah Carey, Rainbow. And This album was one of her best albums of the 90s, and it was very, very popular. This is a 25th anniversary expanded edition on rainbow colored vinyl. It also features 5 bonus tracks, including the song Rainbow's End. It's not cheap because of the rainbow vinyl, I think. These are very limited edition, too. As far as I know, this features a bunch of guest appearances from Missy Elliott and Debrat, Jay-Z, Usher, Joe and 98 Degrees, Nas. Yeah, a couple of VH1 live divas performances. So I don't know. It's an album that a lot of people loved back in the day for sure. Very popular. Let's see, Little Big Town, greatest hits. One of the better country bands out there, in my opinion, is not just for playing and writing, but the singing and the performances. They're really pretty great. And this is a greatest hits record. It features 12 songs: Pontoon, Girl Crush, Better Man, and Boondocks. Also features guest appearances from Miranda Lambert, Kelsey Ballerini, and Sugarland. Um, all right, American Football. This is an iconic indie record. I love this cover interpretation. It's on this great silver kind of foily vinyl. This is, which 25th anniversary for this too. To celebrate their 25th anniversary, it's their iconic debut, completely remastered from the original master tapes and pressed at 45 RPM. Newly expanded deluxe gatefold packaging and new liner notes. Also on silver vinyl in a very shiny package here. Better watch how I use that phrase. Okay. This is a great album. If you've never heard this and you sort of like American indie rock stuff, you really probably should. Let's see. So they did this kind of, I don't know if I call it odd, but I don't know who's handling the George Michael estate and what they're choosing to release. But so they did a reissue of the song Careless Whisper, because I guess since it wasn't included on the Wham Greatest Hits because it was always in America titled George Michael. Was it Wham? I think it was Wham featuring George Michael, or something like that. It was kind of separated. So here we get George Michael's Careless Whisper as a 12-inch EP. And what it is, it's on ruby red marble vinyl for the 40th anniversary, mastered at half speed from the original tapes, and includes a previously unreleased live version. It has the regular version, the extended version, the live version from 2008 at Madison Square Garden, and an instrumental. So 4 tracks. And then they also did a picture disc version of it with different artwork. And I think that's the import version. So you've got these 2 different choices for that. One of his best songs. I just think it's odd how it's been sort of left off to the side like that. So don't get me started on the way that people are managing his catalog. I think it's been like kind of a mess, actually. So Ivy, a great band. I think they have a new record coming out maybe, but it's been, I'm sure, difficult losing Adam Schlesinger, your sort of one of your main songwriters, ex Fountains of Wayne as well, erstwhile Fountains of Wayne. Ivy, great kind of indie pop band, a little more sort of like breezy and cosmopolitan maybe than Fountains of Wayne. But this was produced by Andy Chase and Adam Schlesinger. And this album came out, this 25 years ago for this. This was sort of their breakthrough record, I would say. Plenty to swoon over, a richly layered pop daydream. No one else stateside is currently making pop quite as lush and lovely from launch magazine. Includes the classics Edge of the Ocean, Worry About You, and Undertow, as well as a never before heard extra track produced by Lloyd Cole, All I Ever Wanted, plus liner notes from the band. Available on vinyl for the first time. And yeah, this was a great album, Long Distance. That's what it was called. Let's see. Another really popular record from way back, 25th anniversary for this too. And they changed the cover art. I don't know if the original is inside. It's kind of cool and quirky that they did this to sort of set it aside from the original, but saves the day through being cool. And I think that was the album that had like kind of a house party scene on the cover. But anyways, now you get this sort of color blocking that's embossed, and it's on a limited opaque moonstone vinyl. I know the colors have gotten way too descriptive, right? All right. I know you've been waiting for this, The Carpenters, and it's their new Christmas album called Christmas Once More, and this is sort of a collection that Richard put together, I believe, 16 timeless classics. It features Merry Christmas, Darling, Sleigh Ride, There's No Place Like Home for the Holidays. And these songs have, I believe, all been pretty much released before, although Merry Christmas, Darling is the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra version. Their Christmas albums are very nostalgic for me because they're very like, and I don't even remember if I don't think we had them in my house as a kid. I don't know why my parents didn't have those. They had a few other albums by them, but those songs got played on the radio so much that you kind of remember those things. Karen just had a really beautiful voice, and talk about like a master class singer and close mic singing and whatever. She just had such a tone. I sometimes listen to her now and I think, I don't know how she did this without auto tune and a bunch of studio trickery. Like, she could hold a note and get through these phrases and make it sound effortless and go all around this, And I'm thinking at the same time, she's like wasting away from anorexia. I don't know how she physically did some of that stuff. Early on, I can kind of understand it, but just a real tragic story. It's like you're like, yay, Christmas, and then it's like, oh, but it's just so sad. But what a wonderful memory of a catalog she left us. So Robert Glasper, his new Christmas EP called In December. This is on a festive gold vinyl, plus extra holiday classic Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. He's a jazz hip hop crossover guy. This features contributions from Cynthia Erivo, who's in the new Wicked movie coming out. Let's see, PJ Morton, Alex Isley, Andra Day. So kind of a R&B type Christmas thing there. And a couple more hip hop reissues. Lupe Fiasco, and this one's called Tetsuo and I'm trying to remember the name here. Tetsuo and Youth. And this is a early Lupe Fiasco on vinyl for the first time on translucent grape vinyl. Tetsuo and Youth glistens with imagination, where the judo master of juxtaposition has grown more challenging lyrically. He's also grown more naturally emotive. And that was from Hip Hop DX. Anyway. Probably one of the more popular and iconic rappers, Lupe Fiasco. Now, maybe some of you haven't heard of him before, but now you have. Roots Maneuver. Here's another reissue, hip hop reissue. This is called Brand New Secondhand, 25th Anniversary Edition. 140 grams smoky clear vinyl, includes portrait print and popular tracks Movements, Jungle Tings Proper, and Oh Yeah. Kind of a great underground hip hop artist from 25 years ago. All right, so then there were a few CDs I had to show. I mean, things like the Willie Nelson and the Robert Glasper, but couple of other things of note. There's this interesting reissue of Elvis Costello's King of America, one of his best albums ever and one of his best of the 80s. It was played with members of Elvis Presley's band, and he sort of stepped aside for a bit from the attractions, which he was sort of having some personal issues with. And so the first, this is a 2-disc set, a 2024 remaster. The first disc is King of America, the album. The second disc is Selections from Other Realms, and it's best of the box set. So the box set is kind of odd in my opinion. It's like 5 or 6 CDs, something like that. And much of the extra CDs are live recordings and things that are from more up to the current time. And he's trying to, or someone at the label, I don't know, this is his project, is trying to draw some parallels between current Elvis Costello recordings and ones that originated from this time period. So I'm not really sure. I think they're trying to be sort of, it's trying to be very like sort of historical about the whole thing. It's just an odd sort of way of looking at it. I mean, or interesting. People sort of said, you know, I read his autobiography, and it was sort of elliptical the way he'd sort of spin off into all these tangential stories and then always sort of bring it back. Elvis Costello is a master of the weave. Can I say that here? Anyway, he would probably be like, no, don't say that. Anyway, but it's very much like that kind of stuff. So anyway, this second disc, you get a mix of live stuff, of demo stuff. There's a track with Lucinda Williams. There's a Story in Your Voice. April 5th with Roseanne Cash and Chris Christopherson, and The People's Limousine with the Coward Brothers. The one thing I will say about this is I think this was already reissued as a double CD back when Rhino were doing these as double CDs 20 years ago. Now maybe because 20 years have gone by and he's still signed to Universal and not Rhino, they felt it was time for reassessment. But anyway, and you get like a slightly different picture of Elvis there. Okay, so, but there is a bigger box set for that. If you want it, you're going to have to let me know, because it's probably not something I'm going to have just hanging around. The new Warren Haynes CD is available as a double CD. This is kind of an interesting thing because the 2 CD comes out before the 1 CD or the vinyl. The vinyl's not until the end of the month. I'm not sure what is going on with these labels. So this is all coming from Universal. They can't just put it all on one day, right? So anyway, this is the deluxe 2 CD edition. So there's 4 bonus tracks on here. One of the bonus tracks is Find the Cost of Freedom and Day of Reckoning, featuring Lucas Nelson and Jamie Johnson. The actual album features Derek Trucks' Day of Reckoning with those Lucas Nelson and Jamie Johnson. Derek Trucks actually on 3 of the songs. So it's called Million Voices Whisper. So looks like it might be slightly political. Go down swinging, lies, lies, lies. From here on out till the sun comes shining through. Hall of Future Saints. All right. There's a new field music album, and this was delayed a couple of weeks. Limits of Language is the name of it. They're kind of a quirky, sort of Steely Dan inspired kind of alternative rock band. They keep putting out records. They've been around for a while. The Cure's album, as I mentioned, Songs of a Lost World on CD. That is available. And Charlie XCX cassette of, see, I can read it because I'm reading it in the reverse. Brat, and it's completely different, but it's also still Brat. So the album is Brat. We all know this because it's been heavily used in the political environment. But so this is a 2 cassette thing, which is kind of cool that they did this. And it has the Brat album on one cassette, and then it has the Brat remix album on the other cassette. So if you're looking for the track with Billie Eilish doing Guess, that's on here. I think the one with Lord is on here. I'm trying to remember. There's the one with Julian Casablancas of the Strokes. And the color is unmistakable. When you see it, it's like, oh, that's Brat. Charlie XCX. All right. I guess like a slight follow-up to what I was saying last week. I think it was last week, or maybe it was a week before. I was talking a little bit about how we're sort of watching kind of a plateauing of sales in new vinyl and the record industry this year. And it had to happen. I mean, we were on such a upward trajectory for a while that, that sort of rocket ship was going to burst, especially when they started increasing the prices as much as they did. And I think that, at some point, I kind of feel like they drove some kids away, which is why kids either are not coming in as much or they're turning to CDs in some cases. I mean, there's still a lot of kids buying vinyl, but I don't know if that was really the best decision on record companies' parts. And I know that they felt like they had to raise the prices because the price of goods, the price of shipping, and all that went up. But there's going to come some sort of a reckoning, I think, eventually, where they're going to have to start either slashing prices or doing budget lines. It's going to be sort of like if you want the new, I don't know, the new, who's a big artist, Taylor Swift, that's still going to be like a $40 record or whatever. But other artists, it might have to drop back to more like 25 or something like that for those to really sell. I do have to, in a lot of cases, mark some things down if they sit for like a year or even like 9 months, because 6 months you just want to turn them at that point, and it's like, so we're no longer making profit on it, we're just kind of eating it just to move the product. So selling things more online, trying to do that, it's just, we're in very strange times. The election has not helped. I think all of the reports of vinyl sales being down are grossly over reported, because it's like you can't really get a good sense of what indie stores are actually selling because of a lot of times they just don't report their numbers. So I think things are still pretty healthy considering all the stuff that we've been through in the last 4 years. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this except to say I think the stores are still okay, but you got to keep supporting them, because I did sort of, I'm not quite sure what to think of how this Black Friday is going to go. The jury's out on that. We'll see. The list was sort of like, it was good, but not great. And, everyone knows the April one is usually the bigger, better one. Yeah, granted. But I hope we have a good turnout. I hope people just turn out and find something. This is the thing is, I think this week it was a little lighter, but the last few weeks have been massive amounts of new releases, and I'm just hoping that people can find some things that they're willing to buy and spend money on and support the store in that way, because they're releasing great stuff all the time. It's not just on 1-2 days a year. That's the frustrating part of Record Store Day. Trying to get that message across. One of the frustrating parts. Okay. Finally, let me just give my recommends of the week. And I've been meaning to talk about this album for a little while. And it's Halloween, and it's this sort of a gothy band, but then they're also not. I talked about The Cure last week, and I've talked about them because they have a new release out. This band, not a new release yet, but I really liked them back in that same era of the 80s, and they were a goth rock band that grew out of a major goth rock band and kind of started to drift a little bit from being specifically goth. And one of my favorite records by this band, The band is Love and Rockets, and this is their album Earth, Sun, Moon. And I could go on about how much I love this album, but it's one of those that I just played nonstop when it came out. These three guys came from originally the band Bauhaus. Peter Murphy, the singer, went sort of his own way. At first, Daniel Ash and Kevin Haskins sort of went their own way, did their own thing, as Tones on Tail and David J sort of did his own thing, and then these three sort of got back together and reunited, and in '85. This is their third album. Came out in '87, I believe. And what a great album this was. This album features the hit song No New Tale to Tell, which is sort of a song that you could kind of apply to like today's political climate in a way. And it's actually a David J led track. The thing that I would say about this album is it's definitely not a goth record. It has a lot of kind of psychedelic pop kind of inspiration. I hear a lot of 60s influence from bands like The Doors. I hear a lot of 70s influence from like Bowie. There's even a lot of like John Lennon. I feel like the last track on here is it Youth. It's very sort of kind of Lennon-esque type of song. Anyway, it has one of my favorite songs of the 80s, Everybody Wants to Go to Heaven, which is just one of those kind of very beautiful, quiet, mellow, plain-spoken kind of songs with a kind of a mellow background with this kind of lilting saxophone in there. I mean, if you like bands like Cocteau Twins and stuff like that, you might also want to investigate them. Their singer doesn't have, like Daniel and David don't have that mellifluous voice like Liz does, but they kind of tonally have a similar kind of like instrumental aesthetic. Maybe like bands like Susie and the Banshees, where guitar is, put through a lot of effects pedals, used sort of as a texture, sometimes more than a lead kind of solo instrument. There were only three of them, so they kind of had to really stay locked in with each other a lot. But this album has songs that are very Beatlesque, like Rainbird is a very kind of beautiful kind of acoustic song. There's a lot more acoustics on this album than their previous ones. Here on Earth, Welcome Tomorrow. Then you've got kind of throwaway songs like Lazy. But it opens with two more of the more aggressive songs, Mirror People and The Light. And then after that, it sort of kind of goes into this more just beautiful, kind of dreamy. The Telephone is Empty is such a dreamy kind of surreal type song. And they're a band that never really shied away from the surrealist aspects of alternative rock. So, and I kind of am talking about them because we talk about Bauhaus a lot, a fair amount, not as much as The Cure or something like that. But I feel like Love and Rockets does not get talked about enough. They actually had a top 3 hit in the U.S. in '89 with So Alive. Was it 89, I think, or 88? So they actually did have big commercial success here as well. They have had problems in the last couple of years as far as touring, because they were supposed to get together, do a Bauhaus reunion with Peter Murphy, and then he called it quits because he was having personal problems. And so then they decided that they'd go out on tour and open for Jane's Addiction, and they got through a few shows, and then Perry threw some fists at Dave Navarro, and that's over. So maybe they'll get their own. I think they're probably trying to get their own tour together and come up with a new record would be awesome. But anyway, Love and Rockets, Earth, Sun, Moon. That's my recommend for the week. A little bit of Halloween, a little bit of Day of the Dead. on that record. So, all right. Thanks everybody for your patience. Thanks for watching. It wasn't that much shorter, I guess, but there weren't as many new releases. I talked a lot. Have a very happy, safe Halloween if you're watching it tonight. Have a great November. Stay safe. Go vote. Get to the polls if you're of age. Do your civic duty and do everyone a favor. Try to keep decency in mind. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I can't handle all of the drama. Take care. Love you guys so much for viewing. Thank you. Bye.